If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. The flip side of the Declaration of Independence and other important historical documents. On the back of the original Declaration of Independence is written Original Declaration of Independence, dated July 4, 1776. In case you were wondering, there is writing on the back of the original, signed Declaration of Independence. But it is not invisible, nor does it include a map, as the recently released Disney feature film, National Treasure, suggests. The writing on the back reads, and it appears on the bottom of the document, upside down. While no one knows for certain who wrote it, it is known that early in its life, the large parchment document, it measures 29 3/4 inches by 24.5 inches, was rolled up for storage. So, it is likely that the notation was added simply as a label. The Declaration moved from city to city with Congress during the Revolutionary War. In 1789, it was officially transferred to the custody of the Secretary of State, then it moved with the capital of the country, first from New York to Philadelphia, then in 1800 to the District of Columbia. As this little-known information about the Declaration suggests, the backside of a historical document can reveal interesting details about the document's history as an artifact. The details might relate directly to the document's travels, its owners, or handlers, or they might offer clues to the economic, social, or political conditions at the time of the document's creation. 18th and early 19th century letters, for example, were folded and sealed shut with sealing wax, because envelopes had not been invented. The address was typically written in the center of the last page of a folded folio, so it could be seen when sealed shut. The address can often provide insight into information not necessarily contained in the text of the letter. For example, the backsides of many of the letters submitted to Congress by the various states transmitting their electoral college vote counts for the 1840 presidential election read simply, "To the President of the Senate of the United States / Washington City." This small amount of information serves as a reminder of the requirements of Article 2, Section 1, of the U.S. Constitution, that electoral vote counts be submitted to the President of the Senate. Another interesting example is the letter sent by Thomas Jefferson in February of 1790 to George Washington accepting the appointment to become the first Secretary of State. The backside of the letter is addressed to simply George Washington / President of the / United States. It was stamped in black ink Richmond, February 18 / free. In addition, 19th and early 20th century government documents were trifold, and often their backsides contained endorsements that revealed who received the document, when it was received, and often a brief synopsis or comment, much like a routing and transmittal slip used today. The after-action report on the Battle of Gettysburg that Robert E. Lee submitted to the Confederate Secretary of War James A. Seton is one example. Considered by many historians as a turning point in the Civil War, the battle, fought from July 1 to July 3, 1863, was a major defeat for the Confederacy and for General Lee in his second invasion of the North. The backside of Lee's report includes, among other notations, a message from Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederacy, indicating that he had read the document with satisfaction on August 5, 1863. Other 19th century examples include thousands of petitions and memorials submitted to Congress that were trifold and annotated with the date received and committee of referral. Also, at times when paper was in short supply, information was frequently recorded on both sides of a page or written on the back of a page used for an earlier, unrelated purpose. The Emancipation Proclamation, signed by President Abraham Lincoln, for example, was originally written on 2 folios that were folded into 4 sheets. The sheets were at some point separated, and the text appears on the first 3 sheets of paper. Pages 1 and 2 are back-to-back, pages 3 and 4 are back-to-back, page 5 is a single sheet with no writing on its back, and the last sheet is blank on both sides. Lincoln had worked on the Emancipation Proclamation, which took effect on January 1, 1863, for 6 months. It declared slaves in the states, then in rebellion against the United States, to be free, and announced that black men would be accepted into the Union Armed Forces. An earlier example is a bill presented to the government by George R. Lawton, an auctioneer from Philadelphia, for supplies used by the Lewis and Clark expedition, dated May 18, 1803. The document lists various articles of fishing tackle that were received by Meriwether Lewis and is written on the back of a printed broadside. Loudon wrote a receipt for fishing tackle, purchased by Meriwether Lewis, on the back of his advertisement. RG 92. Lewis spent weeks in the spring of 1803 assembling the supplies and materials he would need for the historic expedition across the Louisiana Territory, which began May 14, 1804, and lasted for 2.5 years. Another Civil War-era document in the holdings of the National Archives that has an interesting backside is a flag design for the Confederacy that was submitted for consideration on the back of a sheet of wallpaper. Sometimes notations on the back of a document acted as certifications or were necessary to fulfill the obligations of the front of the document. The back of an enrolled act or resolution of Congress contains the attestation phrase, "I certify that this act originated in the Senate or House of Representatives," and is signed by either the Chamber's clerk or secretary. The U.S. Treasury warrant for $7.2 million to purchase Alaska from Russia was made out to Russia's minister to the United States, Edouard de Stoeckel. Stoeckel's endorsement on the back allowed for the transfer of funds and territory. RG 217. And the back of a check or Treasury warrant can include an endorsement in the form of a signature. The back of the Treasury warrant for the purchase of Alaska, for example, was signed by Russia's minister to the United States, Edouard de Stoeckel, in August 1868. By endorsing it, he allowed for the transfer of $7.2 million from the U.S. Treasury to Russia and the transfer of Alaska to the United States. Finally, the information contained on the back of a historical document can serve as a reminder that the value of a historical document is not just in its obvious content but also in its obscure content and its physical form, that the unexpected notations and material prompt questions and generate interest that can lead to exciting historical research and a deeper understanding of the past.